Hi all, this is Mark and I'm going to show you my walkthrough of pWnOS version 2.0. This is a vulnerable virtual machine which can be downloaded from vulnhub.com, and one information to keep in mind that it will not get its IP via DHCP, but it will have the static IP of 10.10.10.100. Okay, I've imported it to VMware and set the network interface to host only. I've done the same for my Kali machine, but right now my Kali has an IP of 192.168. something. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it into the same network as the vulnerable machine, and to do that I will manually assign it the 10.10.10.101 IP address with this command. Yep. Now, if I check yes, it's IP, and try to ping the vulnerable machine. I can ping it, so let's run nmap on it. While nmap is running, no, it's already finished, there are only two ports open, 22 for SSH and 80 of HTTP. So let's run nikto on the HTTP port, and meanwhile open the website in Firefox. My Firefox is set up to use the burp proxy, the free version, but right now intercept is turned off, but my history can be seen here. Okay, meanwhile nikto finished, and if we go through all this information, there is an includes folder. Let's check that first. Here are some files. Okay, sorry for these two. These were uploaded by me in a previous test, so just don't take those into consideration. What else? There is info, login, register, icons, but not much more. Let's go to the main site. Yep, there's home, there is register, and there is login. Okay, let's try the login thing with a simple SQLi abc apostrophe or 1 equals 1 minus minus space minus and some password, and it says that welcome admin logging in, but even if I refresh it, it will not go further. So we have found an SQL injection vulnerability, but the site is broken for some reason, so we cannot directly log in, but the vulnerability is still there. Another problem is that we cannot just use union select or some other traditional SQL injection methods to query data, because there isn't too much data displayed. I mean, okay, the username is here, but nothing more. So let's use a tool called sqlmap, which is a very powerful tool, and it can be used to exploit, more precisely to find and exploit SQL injection vulnerabilities. It requires a -u parameter with the URL, and since the form is sent, the submitted form is a post, uses the HTTP method post, we need to give it all the parameters it has submitted. Let's come back here as data. Just to not spoil it, it's a good idea to remove our injection and leave a seemingly valid input here and also here. And then just press enter, and now it will try various SQL injection attacks against it. It says that heuristic test shows that the email parameter might be injectable. It might be vulnerable to cross-site scripting. Okay, the backend is MySQL, and it is usually safe to just accept the default ones. In this case, it is yes, skip all other tests. But for MySQL, increase or extend the provided level and risk for higher ones. So try more attacks which are specifically against MySQL. Right now it is trying a lot of error-based and time-based and blind SQL injections. It might take a while, especially with the time-based, but it's done right now. It says that email is injectable, and do you want to keep testing others? No. And it's done. So right now it has found an SQL injection vulnerability in the email parameter on this site. If we list the sqlmaps folder, we can see here the IP, and it has stored this vulnerability there in some form. So now, if we go back to our original URL, we can ask it to dump the current database. And since it's already know about this attack, which it found earlier, it will not test any attacks. It will just use this one. And now it says that, okay, it found 2 users. And do we want to store the hashes? No. And do we want to try to crack these hashes? Yes. Use the default one and don't use suffixes. It has already detected that these hashes are probably SHA-1 generic password hashes, and and it could crack one of these. This one maps to test, but the other one could not be cracked, and this one belongs to admin. Actually, so these are just 2 users on the website. The second user was added by me. So if you are doing it on your own, you might, well, for sure you will not have this user, but you will have the first one since that's the default user. But it could not crack the hash of that user. We can try to search for that hash. But yeah, the first one is an MD5 cracker, which is kind of strange since it's a SHA-1 hash. This is a solution for this one. It's another walkthrough. So yeah, let's say we couldn't crack it. Let's move on. What else we could do with this SQL injection vulnerability, more precisely using sqlmap? We can ask it to obtain the database users and passwords. Yep, the same questions if we want to store the password hashes or crack it. It is usually a good idea to try to crack them because it doesn't take too long, and sometimes it can find the hash. Not in this case. It says that the root hash is this one, the Debian sysmain hash is that one. We can Google it again, but unfortunately only walkthroughs of this challenge shows up, so there has to be another way. One other useful feature of sqlmap is the OS shell, which tries to give us shell access on the system. Okay, PHP, that seems to be good, and it failed. What it was trying to do actually is to use a specially crafted select statement where the selected data is sent to a local file, and abusing this functionality, it tried to send a web shell, tried to create a web shell on the server. It tried it in /var/www, but it was unsuccessful, probably due to not having the right privileges, as it says here. But anyway, it did not work. But there are other options here. We can read files on the system, assuming that the database is configured in a way that it can read files and also that it has access to the given file. Oh, it's not read file. Oh, file read, sorry, my mistake. Yes, let's... Okay, it was saved here. Let's cat it and see what's the content. So, yes, we have successfully read one local file. Unfortunately, if we try to read the shadow file, it looks like the file has not been written. The user has no privileges. Yes, that's probably the reason, as only the root can read the shadow file in most cases. But we can also write files on the system. And for that, let's create a reverse shell. I already have the pentester monkey PHP reverse shell here. Let's just update the IP to our own IP, and the port is 1234. Let's start listening on this port. And now, not file read, but the command is file write. First, we need to specify the local file we want to send. Reverse shell.php, yep. And then there's a file dest parameter to where we want to send that file. And let's try to upload it there. Yep, let's try it again. No, let's check it. And if it was successful, then it should be available here. And yep, we got our shell down here. So we have successfully uploaded a PHP file which connected back to us, since it's a reverse shell. And now we have shell access in the name of www.data, which is the user which runs the web server. Now, we want to escalate our privileges and gain root access to this machine. We can check the kernel version, but I couldn't find any exploits against it. Let's try to find the database credentials. As we have seen that there is an SQL injection vulnerability in the website, that means the website has to use the SQL server. So let's come here to /var/www, and this file seems to be the one that might store the SQL password. So let's get the content. It says root, good day. Seems to be. Let's try it on SSH. 10.10.10.100. Just a minute. For some reason SSH takes a bit long on this server. Now copy this one. But permission denied. Okay, so this is not the actual password. We can look in other files. But actually, if we go one folder up here, so we are right now in /var, and normally there is no website related files here. But in this case, for some reason, there's another mysqli connect.php, and if we cat that one, it has a different password. So let's try this one as well. And this one works. So right now we have successfully logged in as root to the system, and pretty much that's it. The website has fallen. No, this vulnerable machine has fallen. Okay, thank you very much. That's it.